What's up, everybody? Jordan Stewart here from Vover. Thanks so much for tapping into the Vover original show. Just a reminder that if you want to drop your opinions about the episode or respond to the host and guests with your voice, go and download the Vover app wherever you get your apps. Vover, voice over everything. Enjoyed the show.
What's going on, Vover Pop? It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. It's time for another edition of Regular Thoughts with Regular Scott. I am your host, Regular Scott, and this week we're going to talk all about the Black Widow movie. We're going to discuss the box office numbers, talk about the movie, and what the future could hold for some of these characters. So without further ado, let's jump right into things. Black Widow came out. The first Marvel movie released in theaters in over 2 years, I believe. And it comes in with a bang. It was a movie. It's here. Those are going to be my thoughts throughout the show. It was a movie. It happened. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. I don't even think Marvel can make a bad movie if they wanted to. It was fine. You know, it hit a lot of beats. You know, it felt a lot like Winter Soldier, like it was trying to be a Winter Soldier. Had a lot of Captain America Civil War elements to it. We'll get to that, but let's start with the box office numbers. Did really well at the box office. Brought in about $218 million globally over the weekend, and that is a total number with streaming sales. $80 million at the domestic box office, which is a new pandemic record. $78 million from international markets, and $60 million in Disney Plus Premier Access buy-ins. Now, I think that's significant on a couple of levels, all those numbers. One, the Disney Plus buy-ins, or the Premier, I should say, buy-ins, I think that's a really good number, and I think that's going to make it. That's going to be the new thing. I mean, that's a good number. $60 million from that for Black Widow. This isn't a knock on Black Widow, but I think she's one of the lower tier characters as far as just star power. Now, Scarlett Johansson is a different caliber animal. You know, she's got the star power, but the character Black Widow, I think she's on the lower tier. This is a really good sign that you can make $60 million off of those Disney Plus Premier Access type deals. So this is I would expect to see this more often. I would expect to see this on other streaming services very soon. I think this is going to be the model that people follow because it show it works. If you have something people want to see, you know, and Marvel is a proven commodity. The Disney Plus series have done really well. People have been waiting on this Black Widow movie for a while. So again, this is great news for the movie industry, Disney Plus, and I think for streaming services, I think you have seen that people will pay for access to a movie that may only be in theaters. You know, they'll pay extra to get it streaming at the crib. You know, and I think this proves it. $60 million, that's nothing to sneeze at. Okay, so we got the box office numbers out the way. Let's jump right into the movie. I'm gonna be all over the place. You know, I'm not gonna follow any coherent story. I'll try to keep it in sync, but I doubt it. I'm just gonna be all over the place with this. Black Widow, and obviously we're gonna be talking spoilers the rest of this. It was good. You know, I did go in with high expectations. I was definitely expecting a Winter Soldier-esque movie, but I was not expecting them to hit every beat of the drum. You know, I mean, from the jump, we see Natasha and, you know, the friendship she had, or the established family she has, and how she's broken away from that. That's how the movie begins, with her as a child. That's a pretty cool scene. Then we kind of flash forward. We see General Ross, which is a nice touch, nice little cameo right off the bat. Establishes the timeline. This is right after Civil War, so that's pretty cool. I like the timeline there. We're able to see what's going on. This is right after, it seems, the battle at the airport. So Ross and he's already caught Ant-Man, Hawkeye, and Sam Wilson. So this is before they've been broken out, after the fight at the airport. So this, it's a very small window here, which is a very specific point in time. Back to what I meant by this hit a lot of the beats of Winter Soldier. They took down they took down the Red Room, which is where Natasha was born and where they were making these other super soldiers or assassins, as they pointed out throughout the movie. And they took that down like they took S.H.I.E.L.D. down because, she didn't know the Red Room was still around, and just like nobody knew S.H.I.E.L.D. was still around. She tries to save the main villain, who is Taskmaster, who I'll get to her. Yes, her in a minute. Just like Steve was trying to save Bucky the entire time. They just hit a lot of beats. Visually, it felt a lot like Winter Soldier, and that's not really a bad thing, but it almost was too like it. There's that meme of, here's, you want to copy my homework, but don't make it too similar, but it's almost very similar. This felt a little bit like that. The fight scenes were good. I maybe my expectations were a little too high for this movie. I was expecting more. It was just a good movie. Nothing. It wasn't great, and that's fine. That's okay. Some standout performances. I thought Florence was great as Yelena, Natasha's sister. She's going to be carrying on the mantle of Black Widow, it seems like, moving forward. Or if not Black Widow, we'll see what title she does take on. But she's going to be a prominent part of the MCU. There's an after credits scene right after the movie ends where we see her at Natasha's grave. So obviously that's after Endgame has happened. We see her mourning, and she is interrupted by Miss Allegra Fontaine, and who was also the one who provided the U.S. agent, with another opportunity. It seems like she's putting together a Thunderbolts or a Dark Avengers type team. As we see, she'll be the connective tissue throughout the MCU, it seems, this time, which is a nice little twist because she's not exactly a good guy. She seems like she'll be playing kind of the Amanda Waller of the Marvel Universe, putting together a group of not good guys, but maybe not so bad guys type group task force together. And she gives Yelena a picture of Clint Barton and says, let's get the person who is the reason that Natasha died. Very clever wording, not to say that he killed her, but he was the reason that she died. So I guess that means that we're going to get Yelena in the Hawkeye TV series, which is an interesting twist. Is she going to be coming after Clint Barton? Is she going to be hunting him down on a revenge thing? Because we still have Kate Bishop. Is that where Kate Bishop comes in? Does Kate Bishop save the day? Where is Kate Bishop at this point as far as her training? Is this in the middle? Is she already established? There's a lot of questions asked, but it looks like that's the next place we'll be seeing Yelena, at least, is going to be in the Hawkeye series. I'm excited about that. I think that's a good spot for her. I think she fits in really well with that universe. There's already the connective tissue with Hawkeye, Natasha, now Natasha's sister. This all works really well. Another standout character, I thought Red Guardian was really good. David Harbour did a really good job portraying this character. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a little one shot or a little, just a one season of just him doing some missions as the Red Guardian. I think that would be a lot of fun. That would be really cool to see. Some things I did like from the movie, I thought the chemistry between the family was really good. I thought they played really well off of each other. The family doesn't, there has to be a chemistry there, and I thought they had a good one. Just the sisters had a good dynamic. The parents had a good dynamic. The children with the father had a good dynamic. He thinks he's doing the best, and they're like, yo, you screwed us over. You took our childhood. And there is a lot to it. They try to get real deep with it, but it's not that deep. It's one of those types of movies. Taskmaster. People were really excited about it. I'm not somebody who was like, oh my God, this is my favorite comic book villain. I can't wait to see what they do. I know they're not going to ruin it. He's going to be the greatest bad. I wasn't one of those, but I was one that was like, man, I can't wait to see what they do with Taskmaster. He's got really cool abilities to be able to mimic anybody. You know, you've heard the stories of people he's trained, people he's worked with in comics. So it's like there's so many possibilities. I like the story with what they did with Taskmaster as far as he was, or she, I should say, was Dreykov's daughter, who Natasha attempted to kill because she was trying to get to Dreykov. And, you know, she ends up being able to mimic anything she sees because she didn't see that coming. So now she sees everything and remembers everything. So that's an okay twist, but I guess I just wanted more. You know, I wish she would have been more of the main villain, the main big bad. I mean, you were on to something. Marvel was on to something. They've had a trend of only women being the villains in this entire phase. It was pretty cool. I think that's something that should have continued. Wasn't enough fleshed out for her they have this redemption arc. I mean, she wasn't really redeemed, but they tried to quote unquote save her, and I guess she's coming back. So now we'll get a good Taskmaster, or maybe somebody else fills the mantle. But I thought they had a good origin story to make her this ruthless villain. And when she's first introduced in the movie, she's got a really cool introductory fight scene with Natasha or Black Widow. And she comes off, it's very similar to how Winter Soldier was introduced. You know, he comes off as this unstoppable monster. When you see him, you're like, here we go. Showtime, game time. A lot of similarities. And when you watch this, you know, and you've seen Winter Soldier, you're like, man, it's hitting a lot of the same beats, a lot of the same, you know, it's got a lot of the same patterns. Again, it's not a bad movie. It's not great. I give it a 6. Actually, I'll give it a 6.5 because I really like the after credit scene with Yelena, Miss Allegra, and what they're going with the Hawkeye series. So that's very intriguing. So I'll give it a 0.5 for the after credit scene, but it's just another movie in the Marvel catalog at this point. I'm glad it came out. I'm glad it's doing well. But it's not a game changer. Maybe I look back at it on a second or third viewing and be like, man, I didn't realize this, or maybe in a few years it'll grow. But as of right now, my viewing on it, it's a 6. It's not a game changer. I don't think it's going to be in anybody's top tier movies, especially for Marvel. But, you know, again, it's a movie. It's there. It's okay. It's fine. Really excited about what's to come next. And, Taskmaster could potentially be one of the worst villains we've had. And I think she had the opportunity to really stand out and be something special. You know, I think that Taskmaster could have been a villain that's a bad that goes throughout multiple movies, training villains, you know, or villains seeking out Taskmaster to train them. There's a lot you could have did with her. I'm not saying maybe they will do that in the future, but who cares about Taskmaster after this movie? You know, you're left wondering, like, okay, but what about her now? And then on top of that, like, they just let a group of assassins go into the free world with nothing, you know? And, you know, and there's the brainwashing thing, and, you know, there's a serum. And let me not... I did not do a very good job reviewing this movie on this show. I can acknowledge that. And that's because it's not a lot to it. After you watch it, you're just going to remember bits and pieces, and most of the plot you're not going to remember. You know, I sound like I hated the movie. I didn't. It was okay. Not a lot going on with the movie, but I didn't give away a lot, so you can still go and be surprised at certain things, but you won't be blown away. That's all I got for regular thoughts this week. It was a very regular movie, perfect for the regular thoughts show with Regular Scott. A regular movie. You can find me on Twitter, Need4 Marvel vs. DC. That's the number 4. You can find me on Vover Audio and the Vover app at Regular Scott. download this every Tuesday. You can also find the 3 Count, which you can download every Wednesday on Vover Sports. I know I was on Vover Sports with this podcast last week because we did the NBA Finals, but I'm back, baby. Back on the pop side. And as always, y'all have a good time because we're going to have a good time until we talk to y'all next time. Peace.